Hello, hey, hi, social media family. If you have any subscribers and or any visitors alike, as you are among yourselves, being of whom are, sorry about that, have you toned it down, the, audio for one of my electronic devices, just as long as it's not any disruptions or interruptions. I say to this present social media broadcast of video content coming from some or such other sources, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But anyway, though, I'll get to that shortly. But first of all, let me finish up with the greetings or salutation, and then we'll take it from there. Whereas I had already composed or finally did just that so far as concerning matters of the basic intro as an introduction and or footnotes to explain the or give you a description, I would say, of the present social media broadcast of video content. But then, first of all, let me backtrack here with reason or purpose being there so I can go on following to continue from where and when my person at last left off so I can finish up as in complete a form previous prior line thought and in that same sense of the word. Yes. Hello, hey, hi there, social media family. Or as I could start all over again. Or whatever I said. It's how you are doing. Being of any persons among yourselves who are affiliated or associated with and representing my own YouTube social media channel and on chat room. You and yours. Well, hopefully everyone is doing quite well, or hopefully all is well with you and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully the same can or could possibly be said. Excuse me, in some such due regard in reference to me and mine. Hold that thought. Hopefully nobody of a certain neighbor is pumping rather poisonous toxic fumes into my own place of residence, as we have it here, of an apartment at this here given address location. For unfortunately, one of the worstest of neighborhoods, whereas therefore I have become subject to experiencing, as in was I'm being bothered with some such the likes of worstest of proverbial niggas from damn hell characters, which unfortunately that is what the present social media broadcast of video content is supposed to be about. But then nevertheless, I will try as best that I can or could possibly hope to do so, all the while using discretion to address the issue as certain persons, as you all know yourselves, who are supposed to be adults, but yet they misbehave like overgrown baby boys and baby girls, regardless of race or walk of life or gender, etc. Yes. Anyway, though, as I was trying to say before, what appears to be a suspected disruption or interruption to the broadcast. And whereas this present incendiary neighborhood community is not conducive so much as to benefit me. If you know what I mean, read between the lines, fill in the blanks, where it could possibly become or be a great disadvantage to me, especially when it is concerning matters regarding making reference to that being in my general health in any regard. Yes. And so let's just take it from there for the last mention. And as I may have to speak more in hieroglyphics as an AKA coded language for obvious reasons and on purposes for my person having said so, being a wish should prove to have become a a no-brainer as in self-explanatory. So let's get to it. This afternoon, I had become subject to experiencing that of an emotional outburst. Disregard what you heard in the background. It's another native from downhill. I got some native from downhill character. I have some on the same floor level. There's relaxed up there, And most of my neighbors from downhill, as I remember, were always, though some were elsewhere within the building. The main one, is just down the hall from me, a couple few apartment doors down from me. Anyway, I have had a conflict of interest with him just today, this afternoon. So that's once again, he himself had done or did the usual, mouth off threats against my person, or verbalized words implying, physical violence, you know, or to put in layman's terms, where he was saying what he himself could either do to me or have done to me by still others, of homies of his. And I didn't like that at all. So, yes, especially when he was saying last, you call the police on me or the cops, there's going to be a problem. And I said, oh no, you didn't go there. Now I'm trying to leave this alone. I'm trying to, respect the rights and privileges of my fellow neighbors and only wish for them to respect mine. I mean, I don't bother anybody, I wish they would leave me alone. But then getting back to some of such, I had to finish the formalized words. I'm like saying, oh no, you didn't. You just threatened me again. So quite naturally, I have had to call the police behind that, And then once they showed up and discussed matters with him, he put on an act, He's no longer so threatening, He's speaking like white, a gentleman and a scholar, someone who could possibly, not practically, be a teacher or a professor, be it for one of the, other schools for students of high school or elementary age, being of the youth, or for those being of some such other students who were qualified, who would have be qualified to be eligible to be eligible for the territory and with all the credentials that comes with it, or who would be qualified to be a kuman, what they say, kuman laude, I don't know, who would be considered as possible and potential, college and university students with grade point average at least. So I'm like saying, how in the world you gonna put on this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of, persona, 1 minute you barking at me like a mad dog foaming at rabies. Next thing you know, when the police finally show up after you done left another business card, like we playing poker, he wants to see if he could bluff a hand on me. And, whereas if I was, a poker player, then I would give him just as much of the business as he would attempt to give me. But I don't try to, if anything, I'm a believer in God, see. Though at times I can get beside myself at the lesser of two evils, being a prodigal son, and put myself in a situation that it could prove to become just ever so much of one that is not conducive to what is in my better interest, if you know what I mean. Read between the lines, feeling the blanks. I've been in many scrapes with family members and friends of my family, with other factions of society. But I've always believed in going through the proper policies and procedures, protocol, to address the issue, to diffuse a situation before it become cataclysmic and prove to become a be not in the better interest of either or any feuding parties. That's just me, a law-abiding American citizen, believe it or not to mention believe in God as the Christian, aka Protestant. So getting back to some of such other, as I try to, you know, finish off, or to use a better choice of words, complete a former previous prior line thought. So I'm like, oh, he's playing this poker hand with me once again, you know, because he played a similar one where it's I'm coming back to the vicinity neighborhood community here, like, right? For this being one of the worst or worstest of vicinity neighborhood communities. And whereas he himself is like, from there, you know, whereas I didn't see him all week, and then he shows up out of nowhere come the weekend, and he sits on the stoop outside of the building. He's like saying, "What up? We all good? What up?" You know. But then he'll be a fool to try something when the police talk to him. After that is where they talk to him after this last fiasco of fracas or conflict of interest we had between ourselves, and being which I get to shortly. But getting back to some such other, finish up as a complete formal thought. So he's like, "What up? What's up? We good?" I'm saying, "Yeah, we good." Talking all that smack behind your apartment, though. Well, he didn't exactly put it like that. I'm just putting it in other words to rephrase that so it could sound more kosher, if you know what I mean, without the expletives of profanity, as in cuss words, to simply say. So I'm like saying, "Oh no, he didn't. He just threatened my life again." So I called the police on him again. And then he puts on this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde act. He's like, one minute he's foaming at the mouth like a mad dog with rabies at me. What you would expect to come out of the mouth of a drunk or what she had a hype. Next minute he's all like he's the boy next door. Like, or he's doing his own rendition of a movie flick scene for the male character, you know, whereas the actor Anthony Perkins or Hollywood, California, for the movie, television, music industry, where he's like, "I wouldn't hurt a fly. I don't possess any kind of lethal weapons. If you officers, either you, both of you two cops want to, pat me down from head to toe. You boys in blue, my friendly neighborhood officers, I don't believe in violence." Like he's doing his own rendition of, the Godfather movie flick scene. You remember the big kingpin of the neighborhood, before he got put on ice, if you know what I mean, read between the last whereas he was probably watching a theatrical play, involving puppets. He was like, to some or such other persons or other people, "Oh, this is too violent for me. Oh, I must be on my way. Oh, too violent. Too violent." Practically like a gay flamingo or queer, Then this guy, he's so infatuated, obsessed with my person as a male of the same sex. You would think he's queer, a gay guy, homo faggot. No offense meant to be directed. A line of thought or words of a nature then verbalized of sentiments or expressed against the much more familiar, cocksucking faggots, of male members of the LGBT community. And not that I am a member you know, of the Westboro Baptist Church with its bogus, blasphemous email of www.godhatesfags.com. Because the God of my own understanding, he doesn't or don't hate faggots. He just hates their blasphemous alternative lifestyle preference. But anyway, getting back to some, such as not that I'm wagging the dog or anything like that, as they say. That's as in changing the subject, as some would have thought that former ex-president Bill Clinton was doing that after he had got caught with his pants down. Well, hopefully not literally actually caught with his pants down. The Monica Lewinsky affair, hopping in the sack with a Playboy bunny wannabe other than his wife with her thousands of bogus emails of Russian collusion, then a senator, politician, Hillary, who had made a run for the presidency herself. Getting back to some of such stuff. So, this time I'm having to call the police upon him again, because he threatened my life again for this here being, the 13th day of the first month, being of the month of January, and in the year of our Lord and Savior Christ, the Messiah Deliverer, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the Rabbi of Rabbis, the Prince of Peace for the calendar year, this new calendar year of 2024, and for afternoon being of the Saturday of the weekend, whereas he's mouthing off, and this time he's like walking down the sidewalk as a pedestrian, practically, if not possibly, coming behind me. Well, he may well have been, and he has one hand in his pocket, in his jacket or coat pocket. I don't know what to make of other than that looks to be a threat again, especially if he's putting greater emphasis on that physical gesture with the verbal sentiments he expressed against my person, being how he made with the usages or the speeds of profanity or cuss me out with qualities and quantities of, words that would prove to imply he has it of a mindset to have some physical violence done to my person, cussing and swearing like a drunken sailor on shore leave, as some such given on time, with one's drinking buddies before one were to return to base with or without them. So I'm like saying, oh no, that will never do. I'm like, is he keeping this up again? And he's like saying the more words or less, quit talking effing BS about me. But the exact words he used. I'm just rephrasing that to sound more kosher. He said, quit talking BS about me. I'm like saying, what are you talking about? Dude, guy, fella. I'm thinking, you sure you're not using the same drugs that you be selling to your different customers? Because after all, he's a local vicinity neighborhood community drug pushing dope dealer, I'm like saying, so what if I'm on my phone talking to relatives and friends? What has that got to do with you? If the shoe fits, wear it. If I even if I were to be talking about you, and they're listening on opposite end of the line as well, I could discuss matters with my self-help recovery buddies as well as with the police. If you would just chill out, then we wouldn't be having this difference of opinion, this disagreement, this problem in the first place. If I'm saying something behind my apartment door, on the phone, as long as I'm not threatening you, you shouldn't be threatening my person, I mean, the guilty one speaks, like, right? Whereas he has a guilty conscience. So I'm like, he's pulling another poker move, and get back to what I like saying was, if we were playing poker, I go tit for tat with him, because he's once again, attempt to, intimidate or bully me, like I'm supposed to become or be like a hermit in my place of residence apartment. And I got things to do, places to go for my own personal survival. And I just been trying to ignore him. He's keeping this up. And where from there, he flipped the script and like he's telling the police from there, I wish he would just leave me alone. Quit saying stuff. Quit talking this and that. Don't say anything to him. I'm like saying, the audacity. You have something. I'm the one that called the police about you, and the police are like saying, and come to think of it, it was the same police officer that showed up last time, same cop, and they're like saying, look, y'all been having this problem for months, Okay, so why don't you just let it go? Just let it go, let it go. But anyway, they have him on police body cam as well as they have me. But then they will also have it on record, hopefully, that I'm the one that placed the emergency tell number call of 911, not him. It's always been me each and every time. So that should say something in my favor, if anything, over him, you know. As a matter of fact, I can show you what it looked like because this time I took a photo and video of him. Then he took the liberty as he seen me do some of such. He do the same. He himself had done well. Excuse, pardon, forgive me for butchering the English language of the American dialect as we have it of our own adopted tongue. Of qualities and quantities. Well, hopefully I don't just as much sound like Elmer Fudd or Sly Stallone with the speech impediment or defect, and hopefully not equal as well like the president-elect, you know, with his memory lapse, opposed to so-called memory lapse. But if anything, he's just half faking that to try to steer the public away from his underworld dirty dealings with foreign powers or diplomats and presidents, you know, Biden and his son Hunter, the millions of dollars, possibly billions of dirty money. But getting back to the original subject matter, yeah, I'm about to show you. So I took I took a couple few, maybe like a couple few videos. And he did the same. Like he has seen me doing some or such, and hopefully he's not doing that to you know, to forward it to some or such homies of accomplices crime. You know, like there could be placed a contract hit upon my head, if you know what I mean. Read between the lines, fill in the blanks, you know. But then it would not be in his better interest to contemplate doing so, being that because, you know, with the police having him on their body cam, so if something could possibly happen to me, they'll know whose apartment door to go knocking on. You know, sorry. See, that's him. That's him. That's my neighbor. You know, the main one in particular. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, I blow it up now. That's him. See. So now you all know, just in case something could possibly happen to me. I thought I didn't get much of some such imagery in here, close up, but when you tap the screen, you can blow it up to a larger size, you know. That was one of the police officers, being of a black brother, and the other one is supposed to be a white boy. Let me rephrase that: white guy, a white fella. Not that I meant to sound racist, you know. Then I'm not either black or white myself, you know. I'm just an American citizen, like the celebrity actress Raven would say. See, that's him. That's him. That's what he looked like, you know. And that's one of the. See, that's supposed to be one of the police officers here, the black brother, and this the white police officer, right? Okay. Yeah, I showed you one or two photos at different time, or I showed you both of them in due time, you know. And whereas he be riding his bicycle, you know, a bike toward one of the better neighborhoods east of where we're at, you know, one of the better neighborhoods, one that is less poverty stricken and or less crime ridden. But anyway, the police was like telling him that they got him on camera, you know, and as well they told me. And I'm like thinking, I don't have any problem with you all having me on camera, you know, because I'm not doing anything. I'm not of the likes of the criminal riffraff. I'm a law-abiding American citizen. And I would hope that he himself will become or be in due time if he's not already. Can't possibly be with him threatening my life, you know. You know what I'm saying? Now they look at my way, see, well, they're looking back toward him and discussing matters with him all the same about our disagreement, you know, to put it mildly. So I'm like saying, this is unbelievable, you know. So the police left after a while, and I decided to leave then and there because I didn't feel comfortable. I mean, I'm just feeling so much in the funk. He just destroyed my weekend the way he pulled that crap. And it's supposed to be the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend, like right, Monday, January 5th, January 15th is what I meant to say. Lord have mercy, I'm saying January 5th, January 15th. There's a difference in dates, you know. January 15th is supposed to be Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday celebration, and for Monday the weekend, you know. But anyway, I just thought to call the police just in case to make sure, you know, I'm okay, I'm safe, you know, because he threatened my life, and I didn't appreciate that, you know. He threatened my life as he did or done. There I go butchering the English language again, American that. And then, whereas when I get back, you know, from where I went to try to, you know, get all this out of my system, he's in the doorway, the front entrance doorway of the building, and like some other dude, other likes who turned out to be one of his homies, accomplice in the crime. He's like standing in some interest way otherwise close to a train station. Then he's walking the sidewalk and he's approaching my way, and and the neighbor from damn hell that had conflict of interest, he's like, you know, in the front entrance way of the building, whereas his homies come behind me, but they didn't say anything to me or do anything to me. Only being because, you know, they know that the police had been called, you know, at some such given moment in time, you know. So therefore, if anything happened to me, they would know whose apartment door to go knocking on, you know. But I'm just trying to ignore them, you know. That bullshit, man. You know? I'm just gonna get out here and I'm gonna live my life. And if you like it, like it. If you don't. It's 8 billion people on the planet. I don't need everybody to fuck with me to win. If you don't mess with me, so what? I ain't got time for that bullshit, man. I'm just gonna get out here and I'm gonna live my life. I'm not bothering him. If you like it, like it. If you don't. It's 8 billion people on the planet. I don't need everybody to fuck with me to win. If you don't mess with me, so what? I ain't got time for that bullshit, man. I'm just gonna get out here and I'm gonna live my life. And if you like it, like it. If you don't. It's 8 billion people on the planet. I don't need everybody to fuck with me to win. If you don't mess with me, so what? I ain't got time for that bullshit, man. Crazy. I'm just gonna get out here and I'm gonna live my life. And if you like it, like it. If you don't. It's 8 billion people on the planet. I don't need everybody to fuck with me. I'm surprised you know that 8 billion persons on the planet. Mess with me, so what? So like the police, they're like he put on an act for them, make it seem like, you know, see what I'm saying? You know, I don't bother with him, you know. But then hopefully he abide by what he was saying, you know, okay? And because if something happened to me, then you know, you hear what I'm saying? The police will finally recognize and realize that he putting on an act, you know. But then I discussed matters with some or such others. They said, "Nah, he's not likely to try anything," you know, because now they once again have your emergency 911 call on record that you had another conflict of interest with him, you know, for that some of such a given moment in time. But then these two police officers in question, they've been here before, take my complaint. Then they were kind of like acting unprofessional, you know, if you ask me. It's like they assumed that this neighbor of mine, like him and I, were just two feuding parties cut from the same cloth. You know, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? The same black police officer that gave this neighbor from damn hell that I had been having a conflict of interest with a fist bump. And then the white police officer himself, same two police officer cop, he's like saying to me, but he's your neighbor. I'm like, what the damn hell is that supposed to mean? He threatens my life, and now you're saying he's my neighbor. So in other words, translated, be defined as meaning he himself has successfully managed to pull the wool over your eyes as well as a white boy cop. I just had to say it that time. All the same as he pulled the wool over the eyes of the black brother, the cop. Also, it's like that. Well, hopefully, if I have to call again, hopefully I get some different police officers or cops. I'm thinking in my head. Matter of fact, y'all don't come back this way. If it's you two cops, then I may just turn y'all away and just say, "Now I want some other police officers. Forget these. Get on cell phone as a dial emergency number 911. Forget them. My life is being threatened. It's my life or death, and they're misbehaving as if they think I'm just as much of a criminal character as the very one that's threatened my life. I'm just trying to ignore him, and leave it at that. All I can do is pray for another or others. That's all. As well as receive prayers for myself. I ain't trying to, you know, I ain't trying to get into trouble. Trouble is easy to get into it and hard to get out of. I don't know why this one neighbor had got to assuming that he has legit beef, a legit grudge match, a legit personal vendetta with me. I have never done anything or said anything to him wrong. If anything, he's attempting to drive me completely bonkers with all his midnight criminal activity. He goes in and out of one back door to the building more than the other one that he could go out of as well, that he goes out sometimes. But he goes in and out. That he goes in and out of sometimes the other one, but he goes in and out. This this one that's next to my apartment door that much more and disturbs my rest, interrupt my sleeping patterns, cause me to wake up late and start my day off late. And if he's mad about that, then that's on him, because I have done nothing to. I complained to the management about it. That's all I did. And so far, I know some would say, "Are you sure that you didn't have a hand in maybe provoking him most recently?" Whatever I say in my apartment is in the inside of my apartment. Okay, if I'm talking about him, they ain't really got so much. Well, it has something to do with him, but you know what I mean to say. I haven't threatened his life like he threatened my life. Okay, and he don't have any just cause to do that. It don't warrant or 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 justify all that hostility or hatred he has for my person. If the shoe fits, wear it. If I call him a low-life scumbag over a phone line and tell them about him to my family and friends, my family, you know, if you don't want to be considered as one, then change your lifestyle and quit coming off like a cowardly bully or terrorist wannabe with your fellow neighbors. I'm just trying to get along with my neighbors, believe it or not. I try to ignore him, saying how we can't, have a decent adult like, conversation, a dialogue. Sometimes it's best to just leave alone. I'm just trying to tune him out. But yet he still, disturbing my rest, causing me to wake up late and start my day off late, you know. So if at some given moment in time I picture, over a phone line about how he's interrupting my sleep, you know what I'm saying? That's understandable. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I had to speak in hieroglyphics, a coded language, not so much as use expletives or profanity or cuss words, unless he be moonlighting as a spook to sit by the door. And as a matter of fact, I had heard somebody kicking on my apartment door. I figured it was him. I suspected it was. Then he says to police officers this afternoon, he said, "You could tell the management to check the cameras, the video cameras." I said, "Well, I could do that. Then we'll find out who was kicking on my apartment door, you know." But anyway, I'm going to leave it at this here with this last note of interest. As you all know, I will open up with that of the basic introduction. As well, I will present onto your persons the footnotes and a compliment, the salutation greeting and asking you all how your persons are doing. And then I will speak upon the subject matter, or topic of discussion of a given argument to be debated with the many different views and opinions to be possibly affiliated, associated with, and representing thereof. You know, y'all were to speak upon one or a couple, few, or four or more. It all depends on whether I'm using, public free Wi-Fi or my own personal private Wi-Fi. Being of the latter compared to the former. Whereas there's a difference. If I use the former, then I can only speak on a certain amount. I cannot speak as much as I would speak that much more on more subject matters with the latter compared to the former being of my own personal Wi-Fi, personal private Wi-Fi compared to the former being of a public free Wi-Fi. And therefore that would decide how much longer I could discuss matters as I would be able to do with the latter and the former. And then I will close shop, that is, close out by saying, as I will share with you all the gospel message of our Lord and Savior Christ, in more words or less. I paraphrase and quote exactly, and by saying in more words or less. And that is, if you haven't gotten Christ as your own personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think of it with mind's intentions to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins, by recognizing or realizing what he himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some such Roman soldiers up on the orders of their superiors, religious, political, militaristic, and etc. But then, nevertheless, whereas he himself had went to that cross of Calvary to become the perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice for you as well as for me. Don't steal my trademark physical gesture. I'm going to have to copyright sometime unless it were to be risk being plagiarized. And whereas if any of us, regardless of race, walk of life, fashion, society, lifestyle, preference, age, gender, etc., representing as well as associated with, affiliated with, not only the human species, but global, international community within this post 911 era of this supposed so-called post-global pandemic, for this apocalyptic day and age where the doomsday clock, the military weapons of mass destruction of whatever countries or nations that possess it, whereas the stress level is supposed to be at a couple few minutes to midnight now compared to our formerly was supposed to be at a quarter midnight for these biblically prophetic times. But then we were to profess faith in Christ. From there, we will be blessed in one regard or another, more ways more. First and foremost, with his salvation. The second of all, with his deliverance. And once we were to make that transition for the great beyond, we don't have to worry about ending up in the lake of fire, damn hell, to be tortured and terrorized by the devil and the demons, with the rest of unsaved, lost unbelievers and unbelievers who are damned forever. Because we as believers will be in the company of like-minded believers in the presence of God and his angels otherwise. You all take care. Yeah.